I want to show you how to make a pea and basil pesto pasta. It's so good. This was one of my favorite pastas to have at my restaurant. Plus, it was one of the most popular pastas in my restaurant. And it's also really fun to say. Pea and basil pesto pasta, pea and basil pesto pasta. So we're going to make the pasta by, not the flour first. We're starting with psyllium, and that goes into our bowl. And we're adding about 75 milliliters of water with our tablespoon of psyllium. And I'm just going to grab a little fork, and I'm just going to mix that up so that the psyllium can absorb the water. There we go. And we're just going to let that sit for a minute and just let it do its thing. Let it chill out. Let it thicken up. And look at that already. I mean, I'm tipping my mixer on its side, and it's perfect. So if you don't have a mixer, you can always do this by hand. I've even done this just on the counter in other videos. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. What method do you use? Do you use a bowl? Do you use a mixer? Maybe a food processor? So to this, we're going to add our gluten-free all-purpose flour blend. Today I'm using Frankie's gluten-free all-purpose flour blend. Of course I'm using Frankie's gluten-free all-purpose flour blend. Is there anything better? I'm going to put in a tablespoon of oil, an egg, and I forgot to mention that's 1 cup of flour. A pinch of salt. Let's make it a pinch and a half. There we go. Pinch and a half of salt, and a teaspoon or so of pesto. And we're going to mix this up. I was just about to give up hope and think, I've got to add more water, and then it just slowly came together, and it was like magic. It was... It's always amazing how these things work. Okay, so let's clean off our paddle. Oh, that dough is so nice. Okay, so I'm going to let that rest for a minute. And I'll put my mixer aside. And we're going to get stuff started over here. So I'm starting with my burner on high. And I'm going to put some oil in there. Good generous amount. And I'm going to put some green onions in. If you want to put white onions or red onions, that's your choice. I'm choosing green onions. And about a tablespoon of garlic scape pesto. If you don't have garlic scape pesto, you can always use a tablespoon, not a tablespoon, you can use a clove of garlic. I can hear that sizzle already. Spread that out. This pasta cooks so quickly. Okay, to that I've got a cup of frozen peas. And I've got about a quarter cup of chopped sun-dried tomatoes. Now, if you were using white onions or red onions, you wouldn't want to cook them down until they sweat a little bit, same as the regular garlic clove. You want to let them cook a little bit so that they're not so spicy or hot. But because I'm using green onions, they cook really quick. They're quite mild onion. There we go. Look at that. I'm going to add my pesto, and I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 teaspoons, or a tablespoon. Yeah, 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of basil pesto. Just mix this up a little bit. Oh, that smells good. Okay. Now for a secret ingredient, salt. I know it's not really a secret, but salt helps bring out the flavor when you're seasoning it during the cooking process. Okay, so I'm going to shut that off. And got some bench flour of my gluten-free all-purpose flour here. And I'm going to roll this out. What I love about making gluten-free pasta, or just pasta in general, is it's so quick when you make it yourself. And it tastes so good. There we go. I find the cup of flour, or 170 grams of flour, can feed a family of 3 or 4, depending on how much they eat. So you can easily grow the recipe or decrease the recipe depending on how big your family is. Okay, let's switch to the bigger rolling pin. There we go. Very satisfying. And then from there, we fold the pasta over on itself. Oh, I need to lightly dust this. There we go. And then we just take a knife and cut nice thin strands. And just like that, I'm done. So I'm going to turn on the back burner. I'm going to grab some more salt. going to salt the water, season it, let it taste like the sea. And while that's coming to a boil, look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. I love how this just nice long strands of pasta noodles. You just fluff them between your fingers. Let them come apart naturally. This is why you dust the top of the pasta sheet just before you go in and slice, because it lets them just come apart really nicely. So I'm going to let that sit there until the pot comes to a boil. Let's check that out. Oh, look at that, it's boiling. So we're going to add all of this in. What I love about fresh pasta is it doesn't take nearly as long to cook as dry pasta. So we're going to give it a bit of a stir just so it doesn't stick. And turn on our other burner again. And while we're waiting for the pasta to come to a boil, I'm just going to wipe my counter down. Okay. Almost there. Let's see a couple tablespoons of water. Oh, and that is boiling. So I'll let it boil just for a few seconds. Just to give me enough time to grab my scoop. A little bit more water. Give it a stir. Okay, turn that off. Here we go. So let's grab a plate and dish ourselves up. And pasta isn't pasta without Parmigiano Reggiano, fresh grated Parmesan cheese. And let's give this a try. It smells I mean, amazing. Mmm. Mmm. Reminds me of my old restaurant days. Mmm. Okay, one more bite. Let's see. Get one of those sun-dried tomatoes in there. Oh my goodness. The pops and bursts of flavor are just out of this world. If you're looking for the recipe, you can visit glutenfreeguy.ca. You can also follow me on any of these social media profiles. And coming up next is this. Thanks for watching.